Project I've been giving some thought to over the last year, or since we cut this big tree down, was how I'm going to get a kitchen island out of this log. So I'm going to start that process today. See if I can attempt to get this thing resawed into 2 slabs and then maybe a couple chunks off the side for some end tables. So I'm going to establish my vertical line here, lay out my 2 slab pieces, and then lay a line down the top and see what happens. Worst case scenario is I end up using something else for the Peninsula top. Well, it looks like I'm about halfway through one cut. It's not going too bad. The chips are long and stringy, which is good. That tells me my saw is cutting correct on a rip cut. Well, we're getting there. Probably 3/4 through. Still making nice fine nice rip chips out of there, so that's good. I found out if you take your time and go slow, it's a lot better than trying to horse it. I have the 2 slabs cut off the outside. It's pretty nice material inside there for a dead tree. At least one of those is going to make a nice table for the cabin. And then there's the Peninsula piece. This still needs to be split in half and then machined up, of course. But I think it is manageable that 2 of us can get this thing rolled off over to this area here and put on a little trailer. My cut on this side wasn't quite as accurate as the other side. I've got a little hump in here that I'll have to take out. So I'm going to try to leave that in one big chunk and see if we can hoist it out of there. That steel chainsaw is a workhorse. It did a nice job on that. I'm back home in my shop, and I'm working on the Peninsula tops here, and I've got one just about down to finished size. I've got a couple little chainsaw marks still. I'm about a 1/4 inch away from my finished size, and I've got about a 1/4 inch gap or depth there. So I'm just dripping sweat all over everything. See sweat all over the board. It's a reality coming back to Iowa and getting in that humidity. It is brutal. I'm going to start working on this guy over here, see if I can get the top flat with the hand plane here, and then go from there to get that down similar to that other one. Got the 2 halves of my Peninsula machined down relatively flat, so I'm going to let them sit like this for probably a couple months. I'll stack them up, let them acclimate and cure a little bit, and then we'll do the finish work on them in a couple months. I'm sure some of these splits will increase. That's okay. I'll probably put a couple dovetails in some of those later to help stop that splitting. All right, I'm making some progress on the kitchen Peninsula top, and I'm just getting some reference notes back out here so I can kind of remember what I'm doing here. And it looks like my top is supposed to be 36 by 74. I just got the two halves of the Peninsula glued together. Went pretty well. I had one little spot here that didn't want to pull together quite as well, so I've got a clamp on the top of that. Check these one more time, make sure we've got decent pressure on there. And now I'm just taking time while the glue is still wet to clean as much of that off as I can. It's real crucial, at least in my experience, when you're working with a softwood like a pine or a fir, is to remove as much glue as you can, because that glue tends to dry harder than the wood. And when you try to sand those tops, sometimes you can get a high spot. I think we have that fit up pretty decent. That should stabilize that crack. Carry on that live edge look that I have on the edges here, the actual live edge. I kind of back cut the front a little bit, so it kind of gives it an illusion of a live edge on the front, and I kind of like the way that turned out, so I thought I'd put that in the video. I just finished up my Peninsula, so there probably won't be any more footage of this until we install this out in Montana. I left this end a little bit long, and we will fit that to the cabinets when we get it out there. Pretty neat finish. It invites you to want to touch it. It looks really natural. Extremely easy to apply, but it's expensive. So that is the Peninsula top.